ICM3 VMS product. Today what we're going to do is we're going to give you an introduction into our 3 VMS product. It's a three-phase combination surge suppressor, voltage monitor, contactor product designed, for commercial applications. So really, why is ICM doing this product? I mean, we recognize, in the growing world of need for keeping things cool with data centers and commercial buildings, that the market is becoming more and more sophisticated, and we need to be able to help our customers, manage the power sources that are going to help keep their equipment running efficiently. So why is it that we need surge protection? Really, it's low cost insurance, right? So surges are really, transient, unplanned, power upset conditions that really impart, harmful damage to delicate equipment, especially like programmable circuit boards, which is what we provide. And some of the top causes of surges are lightning strike induced surges. These are surges that travel down the line from a lightning strike that could happen miles and miles and miles away, but ultimately ends up damaging your equipment. It could happen from power grid switching, where the power company switches from a solar source to a combined cycle source or to a nuclear source, and that switching of the power sources sometimes can induce a surge in the line. And a third primary source could be just faulty wiring. I mean, wiring that's old or frayed or damaged, that could produce, a surge that travels down the line. And ultimately, if we can protect these surges, then we can really extend the life of products, which is going to ultimately, prevent, service callbacks and keep, the ultimate cost to the property owner down. So the need for voltage monitoring, I mean, a lot of us don't realize that power is not as consistent as we think it is. We go around our houses, we turn our lights on, and we think power is uniform and consistent, and it's really not. Three-phase power actually can fluctuate from a near brownout condition to a severe overvoltage condition, and anywhere in between. So again, in order to protect, like with surge protection, like to protect expensive, commercial products, we need some way to monitor that and then be able to shut off that load, in the event that you get an unfavorable voltage conditions. For example, just a 5% unbalance in phases of a three-phase line can result in a 50% increase in motor temperature. So without proper voltage monitoring, and having that phase unbalance, you could be putting some really undue stresses on motors and expensive pieces of equipment. So that's why we have to monitor the voltage and be able to shut it off when things get outside the primary operating conditions, and it helps us to prevent damaging that expensive equipment. So what would our product look like? So from a features perspective, what's key here is integration. We will combine both the voltage monitoring and surge suppression with a non-latching contactor, all in a convenient package. We'll use thermally protected surge suppressors, which allows for safety when that surge limit is reached. And the benefits of this all-in-one package is that the components that you need are in a single enclosure. You don't have to wire each one independently. They're all pre-wired at the factory, which is going to save the installer a lot of time when they're on site. The integration of the contactor, for switching in inductive loads is better than using a block style relay. And overall, the system cost is reduced, and it provides, dual protection. It results in less system callbacks, and it's all in a convenient package that will ultimately save time and money. So we'd like to introduce the ICM3 VMS. Here's the product overview. It combines the benefits of that three-phase ICM 530 surge protection device and the ICM 450A three-phase voltage monitor with a contactor, all in one easy to install solution. As you can see from the picture, it's pre-wired, so really all you do is you have to bring your wire in and then take your wires out to your load. And then individually, in the event of component damage, all the components are individually replaceable.
Hey, Mike, you mind if I just say a couple of words on the 3 VMS? The whole package as far as surge protection and voltage monitoring in one there being so important because, it's not just the surges, for example, that cause a problem or just the voltage monitoring issues. It's really both. And you touched on all of that wonderfully. I just wanted to just make a point of what those TMOVs, the advantages of ours, having thermally protected metal oxide varistors or TMOVs. They clamp the surge and they dissipate the surge. All right, they don't disconnect you from the service, but they do clamp that voltage, that spike, and then they dissipate the excess surge in the form of heat. And the whole purpose why they're thermally protected is because they if that surge gets too big, if it exceeds the 150,000 amp limit that the ICM 530 has in it, then it will safely take itself out of the service. And I wanted to expound on that feature as well that Mike brought up, is that it's a secondary safety, that thermal protection. Basically it's saying, hey, if I've lost my ability to do what I got to do, I'm going to safely take myself out of the circuit. And it still leaves you connected to the service as far as, and there's no more surge protection now, but then an LED on the product will illuminate, alerting you that you do have a component that does need to be replaced, that your surge has reached its maximum allowable limit, and that you have to replace the surge. And that's the other thing. Mike will get into this later, that these parts are also replaceable. But I just wanted to expound on what that whole thing with the surge and having the benefits of both voltage monitoring and surge protection in one package, because it's a lot of times not just one thing, it's a combination of both that take out your product. Thank you.
Thanks, John. So in this slide, what we're really wanting to do is highlight the modularity of our design. We start with a NEMA 4X, IP66 enclosure. Then we put in the ICM 530, surge protector, which has a service voltage of 408 or 208 to 240, with a maximum surge capacity of 150,000. We layer in on top of that the ICM 450A, as you can see there right in front, and that's your device that's continuously monitoring that voltage and provides that protection. We include a 40 amp non-latching contactor that handles your full inductive loads, and it has safety releases when it gets the signal to break the load. And that's all pre-wired, at the factory. So the ICM 530 surge suppressor, John gave a really nice, explanation of some of the deep features and benefits of that. It is a three-phase surge suppression device that handles, delta or Y configuration, and designed to handle, three-phase equipment, as John mentions. It is UL listed type 1 or type 2. actually it is a type 1 device, and as such, it can be used in either a type 1 or a type 2 application. Type 1 being a whole house, type 2 being just a load side application. But since it's type 1, it can be used in either application. It is watertight, NEMA 4X watertight. As John mentioned, it has a maximum surge current of 150 kiloamps in a single event. But what's more important is its nominal discharge current of 20 kiloamps. I mean, that's the highest that UL will actually rate to. And we're rated at the highest level that you will actually test to, where they give it 20 Ka 15 times in a row to test the integrity of this device. A lot of the competitors will talk about the number of hits their product will take, and those are all like lab figures and not real world testing. So we like to think that our testing, more duplicates, real life testing. And then, as John mentioned, the TMOV technology absorbs and dissipates that surge, multiple times. It's not a one and done device. And the ICM 530 is replaceable in the event that it does reach the end of its life and has had to suppress, a significant amount of surge. The 450A 3-phase voltage monitor. This has our integral anti-short cycle delay, and it has high-low voltage imbalance, phase loss, phase reversal monitoring. It has fault memory that can be retrievable on the screen. It's a passive device that's wired in parallel. And then really what we do is when the voltage monitor sees an upset condition that's really outside what you program into it, because it's a programmable device. When it sees a voltage condition outside the pre-programmed conditions, it'll break a low voltage contact that then sends a signal to the contractor to shut down the load. Actually, the load isn't running through the voltage monitor. The voltage monitor is in parallel, so it's monitoring the voltage that's going through the line. And then when it sees that upset condition, sends that signal to the contactor, breaks the load. So that's essence of how our voltage monitor works. The enclosure, as we mentioned earlier, it's a NEMA 4X IP66, fully outdoor ready enclosure. It's a polycarbonate, dimensionally it's about the size of a shoebox. What's really unique about this enclosure is that the cover can be removed and can be reversed side to side. So whether you mount it vertically, horizontally, up against a wall on the left side, up against a wall on the right side, where you need to change how the cover comes, opens up, you can just unsnap it from the hinges, because the hinges are the same on both sides, reverse the cover, reattach it on the other side, and it's fully functional to suit your every mounting configuration need. So what is our value proposition? So ICM Controls provides best in class surge protection and the most durable surge protection device on the market with the best warranty available. So really this helps, our property owners and contractors, with peace of mind, gives a reliable selling proposition, and keeps our product, in high demand with wholesalers because, it is a reputable product that the company stands behind. Some of our key takeaways is that we have what we feel is a very, robust design inside and out that will meet every industry application. We have a simple design, meaning that you don't have to wire up a surge suppressor, then wire up a voltage monitor, and then connect a contactor. It's all conveniently packaged in one, simple, elegant, arrangement where all you have to do is bring in your power and then run your line to your load. And then it's trustworthy, right? I mean, we have a warranty that we will stand behind our product, in accordance with our warranty and beyond. So what do we feel makes our 3 VMS superior? First and foremost, we don't bring it in from offshore. We assemble, at our facility, in right here in Syracuse, New York. So it's a local manufacturing. We've got best in class protection from surges up to 150,000 amps. We use a non-latching contactor for our inductive loads, which is better suited. It doesn't tend to get locked, and you know that you've got positive disengagement of the power. We've got an industry-leading enclosure, and then we have readily available on our website installation instructions, wiring diagrams, all readily available at icmcontrols.com website. So ICM now has what we think is a pretty complete offering of our power management solutions. So if you only get a ICM 450 line voltage monitor, you've got a really good solution. But if you add in the ICM 530 surge protection device, now you've got a good solution that you've added surge suppression to, and you've got a better. But if you want actually, best in class, all encompassing power management solution, then we would suggest the ICM 3 VMS. We think we have, our superior support, as I mentioned earlier. Everything is available, publicly available on the ICM Controls website. We have sell sheets, installation guides, wiring diagrams. The voice that you heard earlier was John Finetti. He's our factory support technician. So when you have questions and you call our technical support line, John is one of the individuals that you could talk to, and you could tell from his knowledge of deep knowledge of the products that he can walk you through any fault issue that you have with the product under any circumstance and help you find a reasonable result. Before we close the webinar, I wanted to bring up that ICM conducts webinars 2 times a month, the first and third Thursday. So the upcoming webinars that we have that you can add to your schedule is on April 17th. We're going to talk about an in-depth talk about the ICM 450 and 450A Plus. On May 1st, we're going to talk about a new product, which is the ICM 492D. It's a replacement to our current ICM 492C. And then on Thursday, May 15th, a product launching the 1st of June that we're going to have a webinar about is our ICM U-Defrost product, Universal Defrost product. So that concludes today's webinar. I'll open it up for questions, but before I do, in the center of the screen there, we have our technical support line that you can call, and you can talk to somebody like John that spoke earlier, or if you have a question, you can email info@icmcontrols.com. So Paige, if you can open the floor for questions or see if there's any questions that have been recorded in the chat.
So far, we've just had a question from Jamie Snap asking if this will be available for attendees, the recording or transcript. So this will go up on our YouTube channel for everyone, as well as our website in the media library. And we will also send a follow-up email to all of our attendees with the recording as well.
Thank you, Paige. So I open up the floor to all the attendees. Does anybody on the line have a question today? Well, I would offer that if you do have a question, but you're afraid to speak up, please just email your question to info@icmcontrols.com, and we would or call the technical support line 315-362-9575, and we'll make sure that your question gets answered. Again, one last time for questions from the floor. I want to thank you so much for attending today's webinar on the ICM 3-phase 3 VMS product. Thank you.
Well, thank you.